plain. Truly, it's all good.
I like sitting up high. I don't like sitting on the floor. I like sitting up high. Where I can, look down. I don't want to be sitting on the floor like
At
I'm
the
asleep.
at the
You know what?
peasants.
Some of them guys, they'll come in here
Okay, we're going to get started. What I want to do is welcome everyone to the Joint Government Operations Committee meeting rule review this September 17th, 2025. And I first want to ask, do we have any personal orders? If anybody have personal orders? Seeing none. Oh, Senator Rose, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I recognize Carol McDonald. She was going to retire. Have you changed your mind?
Say it ain't so.
Oh, did you? Well, thank you for all you've done. If you want to get a chance, you're appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Carol, we do really appreciate you and all you've done for as long as I've been here. You've been just right there always. So thank you for your service. We'll miss you. Okay. We do have a sign-up sheet for anybody that wants to make statements over here on my left on the corner there. So if anybody in the audience needs to make a statement or whatever, then you sign up on the sign-up sheet. And okay, I guess next order is roll call. If Madam Clerk, if you'll take the roll.
Senator Bowling. Present. Is here. Senator Crowe. Here. Is present. Senator Hatcher.
Present.
Is present. Senator Kyle. Present. Is present. Senator Oliver. Senator Rose. Here. Is present. Senator, the great Senator Steele.
Present.
Is present. Senator Sullivan. The Chairman Jackson.
Here.
Chairman, you have 7 present.
Okay, and call the roll in the House.
Representative Hardaway. Representative Clinton. Is present. Representative Crawford. Chairman Lafferty.
Here.
Is present. Chairman Jackson, you have 11 in the House present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And we do have a quorum in the House and in the Senate. So what we'll do next is we'll get started. We'll start with the, I'm sorry, I need to make an announcement too. Item number 5 has been requested to roll until next month. And so the bill will be in committee without objection of the committee. So I'm going to roll it till next month's rule. Rule will be in committee next month. Okay. First item on the agenda is the Health Facilities Commission, and I think you've already taken your place. So if you would just identify yourself, who you're with, and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. My name is Katie Thomas. I'm with the Health Facilities Commission. With me is Dr. Kevin Brinkman, who serves as the chairman of the Facilities Standards Subcommittee on the Committee on Pediatric Emergency Care. These are permanent rules that intend to modernize the standards for pediatric emergency care facilities and improve the quality of care for children across the state. The Committee on Pediatric Emergency Care serves as an advisory board to the Health Facilities Commission to ensure the pediatric emergency care needs of Tennessee's children are properly and fully addressed. A few key accomplishments made by this rule packet include state designation of pediatric trauma centers, requirements for pediatric intensive care units, and the addition of pediatric emergency care coordinator positions who are responsible for assuring readiness of staff and facilities to provide pediatric emergency services. I do want to note that the emergency physicians reached out with concerns on the PAL certification, but we explained that the rules are the minimum standard and that the Health Facilities Commission will produce interpretive guidance to clarify, and the emergency physicians agree with this solution.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, you've heard the explanation from the Health Facilities Commission. Any questions from the members?
Public comment.
Okay.
Does Mr. Proctor still want to come up?
All right. We have no questions, but I want to do check. Senator Bowling, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for what you do. Just a quick question in formulating these rules, and is there a national organization that you tend to lean on, so to speak, or is this all self-determined in Tennessee by Tennesseans for Tennesseans?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
to be here.
your mic's not on up.
Is that on now?
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is
One
Kevin Brinkman.
moment. Okay, it's on now. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Brinkman. I'm one of the pediatric ICU doctors in Knoxville. Yes, there's a National Emergency Medical Services for Children
If you
organization.
wouldn't mind, if you'll pull the mic a little closer to you and,
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
There's the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy or Committee on Emergency Physicians, and National EMSC, which is Emergency Medical Services for Children. For many years, a lot of organizations collaborated on these rules, and so each year, they are reviewed and improved. And this what you had before you represents that today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let me just ask this, does Dr. Proctor, does he need to come forward, or did you explain what the question might be?
I believe I explained the question.
Okay, all right. If he needed to, I was going to invite him up. If not, yes, sir. Okay,
So just to be clear, we're on public comment now.
yeah, okay. All right, we're on public comment now, so Dr. Proctor, you can make your announcement. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator and committee. My name is John Proctor. I'm a pediatric emergency physician. I represent the Tennessee College of Emergency Physicians, which represents over 400 practicing emergency physicians in the state of Tennessee. The clarification that Ms. Thomas has made, I just want to be certain it's clear to committee members. There's a certification course that's 2 days in length with a 1-day renewal every 2 years. This course is taken principally by nurses, paramedics, and EMTs, although physicians can also take it. However, physicians who have completed a 3 or 4 year residency in the specialty of emergency medicine should not be mandated to take a 1 or 2 day course. So the clarification in the interpretive guideline language that our body has agreed with COPEC on, and Dr. Brinkman and Ms. Thomas, excludes board certified emergency physicians from needing to take a 1 or 2 day course in pediatric advanced life support. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Proctor. Appreciate it. Members, we just wanted that for the record to be on the record. So thank you. Any other questions from any of the members? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Motion. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, would you call a vote in the Senate, please? Roll call vote.
Senator Bowling, votes aye. Senator Crowe, votes aye. Senator Hatcher, votes aye. Senator Kyle, votes aye. Senator Oliver, Senator Rose, votes aye. The great Senator Seal, votes aye. Senator Sutherland, Senator Chairman Jackson,
Aye.
votes aye. Chairman, you have 7 ayes.
Okay. Now in the House, we'll have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. This bill passes through to government operations.
It passes with a positive
Passes with a positive recommendation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Board of Pharmacy. If they will come forward, please. Take a seat. Be sure and identify yourself. Make sure your mic is on. And if you would, pull it closely so we can hear you better. And you may begin.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of committee. My name is Olivia Johnson. I'm a legislative liaison for the Department of Health. I'm joined by David Silvas, Office of General Counsel, and board member for the Board of Pharmacy, Dr. Phillips. The rule packet before you makes 3 changes for the Board of Pharmacy. This allows pharmacy technician applications to remain open for 1 year. It clarifies certain tasks performed by a certified pharmacy technician outside the presence of a pharmacist. And it authorizes a certified pharmacist technician to administer certain vaccines and tests as part of the certified pharmacy technician scope of practice. There are 2 types of pharmacy technicians in the state. Registered and certified. Registered pharmacy technicians are registered with the board after completing a background check, drug screening, and an application. Certified pharmacy technicians are required to complete an approved training program, pass a national certification exam, and meet continuing education requirements. In April of 2022, the General Assembly passed Public Chapter 812, which expanded the scope of practice for pharmacy technicians to include administration of drug products. This statutory change allowed for pharmacy technicians to administer certain vaccines and tests upon completion of a required training and with the authorization of a supervising pharmacist. Testing and vaccine administration applies to certified pharmacy technicians only and is voluntary. Tests that a certified pharmacy technician can administer include oral, nasal, and throat swabs, as well as finger pricks. Public comment showed overwhelmingly that there's broad support for pharmacy technicians to participate in the delivery of pharmaceutical care. However, the opinions differed on whether a registered or a certified pharmacy technician should engage in the administration of vaccines and tests. Ultimately, the board decided on allowing for only certified technicians to administer tests and vaccines. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Senator Hatcher, you have a question. You're recognized.
Just a clarification, really what I want. Make sure that you're wanting just certified to be able to give the vaccines, not registered technicians. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. It would be certified pharmacy technicians only.
Thank you.
Okay. Representative Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this is my first time knowing that there are two versions of pharmacy techs in our state. And I'm assuming that a certified pharmacy tech is the higher of the two. Is that correct?
Yes, they have to go through more certification. So they have to pass a national certification exam. We're registered or just registered with the board. And they also have to have continuing education as well. So I guess you could consider them higher. Yeah.
And what are the qualifications for the other one? I'm sorry, what's the other one called?
For registered,
Okay.
They have to complete a background check, drug screening, and an application.
And no training? I mean, there has to be some training, right?
Just identify yourself if you would, and,
Yes.
and then you may proceed.
Kyle Phillips, Tennessee Board of Pharmacy. They have to be registered with the state, so licensed by the pharmacy board.
Okay. And so they're actually state licensed. Is the certified pharmacy tech state licensed also? Oh, yeah, you turned yourself off.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. And you said the difference is with the certified pharmacy tech that they have more training than the registered pharmacy tech. Now, does the certified pharmacy tech also have to pass background check?
I can answer that.
Yeah. If
David
you will
Silvas,
identify yourself and
David Silvas with the Office of General Counsel. Yes, all of the boards affiliated with the Department of Health, all their licensees have to pass a criminal background check.
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for the information. Appreciate it.
thank you. Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here today. Just a couple quick questions. My first is, who offers the information to ensure that the patient has informed consent about whatever medication or vaccine they're taking? Would that be the tech, or would that be the pharmacist, him or herself?
So the tech can do it under the supervision of a pharmacist.
You're still recognized. Go ahead.
Could you explain what that means, under the supervision, so everybody will know on record?
Yeah, so I don't have the rule directly in front of me, but I believe it says something to the effect of that the pharmacist is there on site and supervising the technician.
You're still recognized. Go ahead.
So the pharmacy tech in their training has enough information so that if you're the pharmacist and I'm the tech and I'm 50 feet away, you're not going to hear every word I've offered, obviously, and that's the intent. We want to expand the capacity to provide health care, and I'm fully supportive of that. But the informed consent of it, rather than a pharmacist delivering that, we're going to allow the tech to do that, and I understand that. So the questions that go along that are, what are the competency measures other than the continuing education and the training in an ongoing basis as we learn things about medications and new things are revealed from adverse reactions with medications and with vaccines? how do we ensure that that tech stays abreast of those matters so that the patient can be well informed?
Yeah, so the tech has to have, like you said, the immunization certification training and the ongoing continuing education, which either has to be ACPE or approved by the board. And that training is received and competencies are assured during those trainings. And then also ultimately the pharmacist is responsible. So any updated information or that needs to be shared with the patient should be transferred to the technician for the technician to speak to the patient as well and overseen by the pharmacist.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the members? Yeah. Chairman Lafferty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to change gears a little bit and go off the pharmacy tech side of things. I noticed in the reading, there were a couple of places that talked about a pharmacist being ineligible to hold a license in this state if they're licensed in another state. Could you kind of elaborate on the logic, the rationale behind that? Not something we're prepared for. I'm sorry. It's I know it's not related to the pharmacy techs. Well, I'm in the right section here. I might be ahead of you.
This is David Silvas, again, with the Office of General Counsel. I am here covering for the attorney that routinely advises the Board of Pharmacies. Been doing it for years. I do not know the answer to that question, but we can certainly get you an answer.
Okay, and maybe you can help with this one too, as a follow-up. I saw in there also, if a pharmacist goes 1 to 5 years with an inactive license, in order to become active again, they've got to go through all the schooling. Makes perfect sense. But then it also says that they've got to pay any fees or penalties that go along with that. And where I'm coming from with both of these questions, we're at a spot where our baby boomers are leaving the workforce more and more. And just my concern, this all comes out of my concern of, will we have enough pharmacists down the road? If we make it punitive in that last case, where you've got to pay 5 years of penalties for being inactive, or then there is also the ineligible part if you're licensed in another state. We've got several cities around the state that border with other states, and I don't know, it just seems to hinder commerce a little bit, I guess you'd say. So if you guys could look into that, and I sure would appreciate it. All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Any other members have questions? Seeing none, I think we're get an explanation down here. Okay. All right. So we'll move along. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, we have a motion. We have a motion. I have a second. Second. Thank you. What I'd like to do is take a voice vote in the House. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All the ayes have it. Senate, Madam Clerk, if you'll take roll in the Senate.
Senator Bowling.
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Crowe. Votes aye. Senator Hatcher.
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Kyle. Votes aye. Senator Oliver. Senator Rose. Votes aye. Senator Seal. Votes aye. Senator Sutherland. Chairman Jackson.
Aye.
Votes aye, Chairman. You have 7 ayes.
Thank you. And this bill will pass on with the positive recommendation. Thank you all. Okay, next on the item is item number 3, Fish and Wildlife. If y'all can come forward. Just take a seat. Make sure your mic is on and that it's close enough to you so we can hear.
Testing. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Perfect.
And you maybe just identify yourself for the record.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Chairman. Blair Beatty, Legislative Director with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. And to my right, I have Jason Henniger, who is the Chief of Fisheries for the agency. Chairman, item 3 on the agenda makes 2 changes. First, it adds 9 new species to the list of fish that may be imported for sale in Tennessee or raised in a licensed fish farm and sold in the state. These changes reflect the current national wholesale fish market. Second, the proposed amendment closes a gap in the rules regarding trophy catfish being taken from public waters and sold for private gain by clarifying that fish farms and catch-out facilities may not take catfish larger than 34 inches, place them in their ponds operated as private businesses, and then charge the public to catch them. This amendment was requested by several sportsmen and women in the state, and we hope that it protects the trophy catfish as a public resource moving forward. And with that, Chairman, on item 3, happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Members, you've heard the explanation. Are there any questions? Seeing none. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none. We have a motion for positive and have a second. Madam Clerk, if you'll take a roll call vote in the Senate.
Senator Bowling? Votes aye. Senator Crowe? Votes aye. Senator Hatcher?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Kyle? Votes aye. Senator Oliver? Senator Rose?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Seal?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Sutherland? Chairman Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Chairman, you have 7 ayes.
Okay, and I'm sorry, your mic, I think we're having problems with the mic, so there was a all positive vote there. Have a House voice vote in the House. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. This bill moves on with a positive recommendation. Okay, I think you're next on the agenda too, the Tennessee Fish and Wildlife, and you may begin. Again, identify yourself and you may proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Blair Beatty, Legislative Director with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Item 4 was presented to the committee as an emergency rule during the June government operations hearing. This rule effectuates Public Chapter 214, passed this last session, by moving the fee for the boater education exam and certificate from statute to rule. The fee is not changing. It is just being moved from statute to rule, and that is an explanation of that amendment, Chairman, and happy to take any questions. No public comment was received on this.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, we're just still trying to figure out our mic issue, so.
Might be me.
No, it's not you.
Well, it's
Okay,
back on.
members, you've heard explanation for the, you have questions? Yeah, I think, yeah. Representative Clemens, sorry, you're recognized.
It's only been 11 years. Thank you for this. Generally, when we move something from statute to rule, it's to make it easier to change. Is the intent on the back end of this to increase that fee?
No, sir, it certainly is not. And I believe in the statute, there's actually a cap. I don't think it could go any higher than 15 on either the initial fee, which is currently set at 10, or on the replacement fee, which is currently set at 5. This was not a bill brought by the agency or the commission either. I think it was more so just for consistency's sake, since most of our fees are already set in rule.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? Seeing none, do we have a public comment? Seeing none, we have a motion. Have a motion and a second for positive recommendation. First, Madam Clerk, if you'll take a voice vote take a roll call vote in the Senate. And your mic is on now, so good.
Senator Bowling?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Crowe? Votes aye. Senator Hatcher?
Aye.
Votes aye. Senator Kyle? Votes aye. Senator Oliver? Senator Rose? Votes aye. Senator Seal? Votes aye. Senator Sutherland? Chairman Jackson?
Aye.
Votes aye. Chairman, you have 7 ayes.
Thank you, and we'll take a voice vote in the House. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. This bill passes out with a positive recommendation. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 5, and that's the one that we rolled till next month. So item number 6, Tennessee Department of Finance. If you'll come forward. And just make sure your mic is on. Identify yourself for the record, and you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Joint Government Operations Committee. My name is Amanda Petrie. I serve as an Associate Counsel for TennCare, and with me today on my right is Dan Kilpatrick, Senior Associate Counsel for TennCare. TennCare has one item for consideration today. Item 6 on your agenda, starting on page 130 of your packet, is TennCare's permanent rules that amend our existing rules so immediate family members are no longer precluded from receiving payment for home and community-based services, private duty nursing services, and home health services provided to eligible TennCare enrollees. During the 2024 legislative session, the Tennessee General Assembly enacted Public Chapter 621, which added a new subsection E to Tennessee Code Annotated 71-5-1404. This law states that TennCare cannot prohibit an individual who enters an employment agreement with a provider agency participating in the TennCare program from receiving payment for home and community-based services provided to an eligible TennCare enrollee based on the fact the individual providing the services resides in the same home as the enrollee. These permanent rules before you today amend TennCare's existing rules or rule chapters 1200-13-01, 1200-13-13, and 1200-13-14. More specifically, we are amending the definition of immediate family member in Rule .02 of Chapter 1200-13-01. We are amending Rules .05 and .31 of Chapter 1200-13-01 to reflect current practice and align with Public Chapter 621, allowing family members to receive payment for community living supports and community living supports family model services, which are home and community-based services provided to an eligible TennCare enrollee receiving community-based residential alternatives through the Choices and ECF Choices programs, and a member's conservator may receive payment for services if permitted by the order for conservatorship. We are also amending Rules .04 and .10 of Chapters 1200-13-13 and 1200-13-14, so immediate family members are no longer precluded from receiving payment for private duty nursing services and home health services provided to TennCare enrollees, provided that the family member is a qualified provider and meets the requirements for participating providers. These changes will provide greater flexibility for TennCare enrollees and their families. We conducted a public hearing for these permanent rules on January 7th of 2025 and received comments from 3 interested parties. We appreciate the comments we received. We responded to the interested parties in writing, and no changes were made to the rules based on the comments. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that explanation. And members, you've heard the explanation. So are there any questions for any of the members? And Representative Hardaway, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a little more elaboration on the comments and your responses, please.
Thank you, Representative Hardaway, for the question. One of the comments that we received was support for the rule, for all the rule changes. They just inquired as to the safeguards that are in place to, best look out for the members' interests. So we did, elaborate on the fact that for home and community-based services, the family member must be employed by a provider agency. And then for the private duty nursing services and home health services, they do have to be an eligible or a qualified provider and then meet the requirements of a participating provider for those. Another set of the comments inquired about the conservatorship piece of the rule change. They wanted the rule to state that the conservator may be paid unless prohibited by the order of conservatorship. We believe that the approach taken in this rule provides an avenue for payment to a conservator while also balancing the best interests of the members and when deemed appropriate in the order of conservatorship. And then the third public comment that we received wanted the rule to kind of go further than it does, but we believe that the rule changes that we are proposing before the committee here does provide greater flexibility for the enrollees and their families, and we're happy to continue discussions with stakeholders and the General Assembly.
Representative Parkinson,
Thank you.
Hardaway here. You're recognized.
My goodness. If you didn't want me here, you could have said that.
You're still recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with your response on the conservatorships, but my question on the safeguards, are there eyes on the work that's done? Who follows up to make sure that that work is actually carried out?
Thank you for your question, Representative Hardaway. For these family members that are providing the services, so in the home and community-based service context specifically, because they're employed by that provider agency, they are subject to all of the same rules, regulations, everything that a normal caretaker or care worker would be subject to in this context. So it's they still are under the oversight of that provider agency.
All right,
you're
answers
still
my
recognized.
question, Chairman.
Oh, okay. Any other questions, members? Seeing none, do we have any public comment? Seeing none. Have a motion. Have a motion for a positive recommendation and a second. What we'll do first, Madam Clerk, if you'll take a roll call vote in the Senate.
Senator Bowling. Votes aye. Senator Crow. Votes aye. Senator Hatcher. Votes aye. Senator Kyle. Votes aye. Senator Oliver. Senator Rose. Votes aye. Senator Seal. Votes aye. Senator Sutherland. Chairman Jackson.
Aye.
Votes aye. Chairman, you have 7 ayes.
Thank you. And we'll take a roll call vote a House voice vote in the House. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Moves out with a positive recommendation. Thank you very much. Okay, members, next we have our last item, the Tennessee Department of Human Resources. If you'll come forward. And just make sure your mic is on. You're recognized to speak, and you may begin. Identify yourself, who you're with, and you may proceed.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman and Committee. My name is Eric Mayo. I'm the Senior Policy Advisor for the Tennessee Department of Human Resources. I have with me today Melanie Kohler, the Deputy Counsel for our department, and Andrew Purrier, a Senior Associate Counsel for the department. Today, we bring before you a permanent rule that is following after our emergency rule from earlier when we were before you in June. We hope to make this permanent, the change that puts Tennessee in line with the requirements of Presidential Executive Order 14173, which requires certain employers to terminate all discriminatory and illegal preferences, mandates, policies, programs, activities, guidance, regulation and enforcement actions, consent orders, and requirements. Our rule simply broadens the definition of equal employment opportunity plan to ensure that Tennessee state government remains consistent with the executive order from President Trump, as well as any other federal or state laws that are on the books. Additionally, we believe that the new language allows for flexibility if there are any future changes from the General Assembly that would impact this area. With that explanation, I stand ready for questions from the committee, and we're thankful to be here today.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, I'm going to recognize Representative McKenzie first. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just trying to understand the process here. Executive orders come out either every 4 or 8 years. Is it your history of contention that every executive order creates a rule change and that rule change must be codified by the state? Or is this the first time that we've ever, or one of the very few times, I guess I'll say, that we've ever taken an executive order and created a permanent rule in the state of Tennessee?
You're recognized. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few parts there. No, sir, I don't think that we do have to bring every executive order to a rule. I think this particular executive order does put us in a position where, in order to be in compliance, we needed to make a change. As I mentioned, this change puts us in a broader, more open capacity. So if there are future executive orders, we are able to respond more effectively. The same is true with any state law or federal law to that effect.
Thank you. Representative McKenzie, you're recognized still.
Thank you. Again, I'm trying to understand. So this says certain employees. So is it your contention, or did the executive order say that each state in this great country of ours must comply with this executive order? Did it call out us specifically, or are you all taking that certain employees to apply to the state of Tennessee?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. The executive order speaks to organizations that receive federal funding, and the state of Tennessee does receive federal funding.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you for that. But, to my knowledge, our cities receive federal funding, our school systems receive federal funding. None of those. Our electric companies maybe have some federal funding. I just don't see the driver for this. And again, whether I agree with it or not, I don't, but whether I agree with it or not, I think this sets a bad precedent. What other executive orders, there's a lot of them out there, that we're going to create permanent rules for. That's my concern, is that this is a potential overreach that will have lasting effects. You can implement it, but to put it in permanent rule when it's not a law, by your own explanation, it's not a law. It's an executive order. Every president does it. This is extremely concerning to me, strictly on the process. I guess I would like to maybe go out of session and ask our general counsel, who maybe has more experience, how often is this done, to get an understanding on where we are with this, or is this going to be our practice going forward, or is this really properly before us and when there's no law that's driven, Mr. Chair?
Okay, you're recognized, and then we'll go to general counsel if we need to.
Yes, sir.
So, go ahead.
And I think I may be able to alleviate a little bit of your concern. What this rule doesn't do is codify the text of the executive order. What this does change is what is currently in our rules, so that we can comply and be in that state of compliance. So I understand your concern of codifying an executive order that could change with a new president in the future. I think this just allows us to be in compliance as opposed to that, but happy to defer to the general counsel.
Representative McKenzie.
Yeah. So thank you, and I would like to go out of order, go out of session and have that answered by counsel. But I guess that would just leave me with the question of why this one, why now? But I'd like to ask our counsel.
Okay. What we'll do, we'll go into recess, and Counsel Doug Garrett, if you'll respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee, Doug Garrett with the Office of Legal Services. Representative McKenzie, I'm not aware, I don't have information relative to what other states may be doing regarding this issue or any other in presidential orders. However, presidential orders cannot supersede state law. Now, the funding issues to which has been spoken here, there could be ramifications there relative to federal funding. That's a possibility, and I think the gentleman here has spoken to that issue. So I don't know. I can only speculate as to what their intent is, why it's here before us, but there is that potential.
All right, Representative McKenzie, we're still in recess.
Yes. So just a general quick follow up on that one, and this just in your knowledge, in your time here, have we ever responded to an executive order in this type of fashion?
Okay.
Yes.
Is that a question for counsel?
Yes.
Okay, counsel, Doug Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Doug Garrett again. If we have, I just don't recall it. And I'm sorry that I can't provide more basis for that response.
Thank you. Representative McKenzie, any other? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Do you have a question for counsel?
Okay. We're still in recess. Representative Crowe, do you have a question?
I think probably what's
part of what's happening here is I know we passed 4 bills. 2 were sponsored by Senator Jack Johnson, and 2 were sponsored by Senator Rose. And all of them did away with diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring and other practices throughout all of state government and local governments in Tennessee. And essentially what we said was DEI is over and gone unless you can show the comptroller's office that doing away with the DEI in whatever avenue you were dealing with, whatever the contract or university research, whatever it might be, hiring, unless you could show that it would impact federal funding that you would be getting. Now, I don't know if that's so. I would have guessed part of what we're doing is these bills that we passed really are trying to do the same thing that the president was doing. His order was to do away with DEI. That's what it was. So I guess we're just meshing the two together, council. I'm not sure, but I would think that there's a relationship between what we're doing here and the fact that our bills would allow DEI to be done away with unless it impacted federal funding for the organization doing away with it. I don't know.
Thank you, Chairman Crow. Response from anybody? Yeah. Legal Counsel Garrett, you recognize?
Thank you, Chairman Doug Garrett again. Chairman Crow, there could be that nexus between those 2 bills. I haven't looked at them. Maybe the representatives here can state more about their intent and where that came from, but certainly the issues are similar, if not the same. So,
Response?
Ask if we have any- I don't think we need to ask if they have any other questions for legal counsel.
Does anyone have any more questions for legal counsel? Yeah. Representative Hardaway, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman.
And this is for a question for legal counsel, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
What is DEI?
Doug Garrett, diversity, equity, inclusion is the DEI acronym for that.
And that's what we're addressing with this rule? And what, any of the,
that would be up to the department to explain.
oh, yeah, I'll get to them, but I
Okay.
want to make sure that legal keeps
And we're
me
still
on the
out of
right
session.
track. The other part of our discussion with legal was about statutes that we had put in place. So is this rule addressing those statutes also, or strictly the executive order?
You're recognized. Counsel Garrett.
Thank you, Chairman. Doug Garrett. The department has cited statutory authority for bringing the rule, for promulgating the rule. So there is a recognition that there is a statutory recognition of what the law is here in Tennessee. And the rule amendment, if I may, Representative Hardaway, it broadens the definition of the equal employment opportunity plan. One of the things it does to ensure that this state remains consistent with the executive order and other federal and or state rules.
All right, and when we're looking at the language itself, is this rule written to accommodate specific language out of the executive order?
That would be something that they would have to respond to. I'm sorry. Yeah. That would be their response, and he's looking to confirm. Okay, you're recognized.
I'm sorry, Doug Garrett again with legal. There is a reference in the amended portion of the rule that refers to what I just mentioned, that being that they have Well, the definition of the plan itself is a statistical document which identifies patterns in participation and utilization of certain groups in the workforce based on federal and/or state law requirements. So the red line in the rule does reflect that the basis for it is the federal and/or state law requirements. So that is consistent with what's stated in the abstract.
Representative Hardaway?
That's my last question. Out of session.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions for legal counsel? Seeing none, we'll go back into session. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Representative Fritz, you were on recognized first. And we'll go ahead. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time. My first question goes a little bit away from the topic we're on now, and we'll come back to that. So from my understanding, most of our departments in Tennessee also have human resource organizations embedded within them. Can you talk just briefly about how this will flow down into those organizations?
Yes, sir. Thank you for that question. So this rule would impact those departments as well. So this would cover the entirety of the executive branch.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And
you're still recognized.
One more, Mr. Chairman. So it's a routine thing for us to amend rules, and I'm going to build on Senator Crow's comments just a little bit. And I think that we in Tennessee can do things better than the federal government can all the time. And I'm actually one of those people that think that we ought to have nullification processes in place, so that we're not coerced or intimidated by the federal government, like has been attempted several times in the past to require us to open bathrooms up and all that those kinds of things if we're going to get dollars. So I'm hoping this is a good topic or a good time to discuss that topic again. That constitutionally we have a right to push back on the federal government if they threaten to hold money. With this, with all that said. I would think that most of my colleagues would appreciate the words that we have there and the intent of what we're trying to do with this, and just offer that perhaps, and this is not a criticism, my friend, I promise you, that we shouldn't be doing this just in response to a federal executive order, but because it's the right thing to do and because of what Senator Crow mentioned, that we did pass legislation in the great state of Tennessee.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Clemens, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to go back to what my colleague from Knox County was getting to. This is a highly unusual practice that we're here changing permanent rules to allegedly comply with a executive order, regardless of whether you disagree with it or not. Violation of that executive order would only happen if practices were undertaken that violated the spirit of that order. That doesn't require us to change permanent rules. It requires us not to violate anti-discrimination laws that are applicable in any given scenario. And also, as grant recipients of the federal government, to make sure that those with whom we contract in use of those funds, there are contractual provisions that say they will not violate any anti-discrimination laws in place at the time. Nowhere in there does it say Tennessee has to change law, change rule. It simply forbids the practice. And I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the state of Tennessee currently conducting any practices or undertaking any practices that violate anti-discrimination laws? If we are, we got a serious problem there.
Yeah.
You may respond.
No, sir. We are not violating anti-discrimination laws.
Okay, so then I'm not sure the reason for the necessity of changing the rule. And as my colleague from Shelby County pointed out, with legal counsel, we're changing the language in this to certain groups in the workforce based on federal and/or state law requirements. What are the certain groups?
You may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that question. I'm going to pass this over to our deputy counsel to explain what the change actually looks like for the EEO planning purposes, which I think will answer that question for you.
Yep, you're recognized, and I think you've already been said your name. So
I'll introduce myself
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Melanie Kohler, Deputy General Counsel with DOHR. So the state of Tennessee participates in EEO planning under several different authorities. The first of which was Executive Order 11246, which required federal contractors and subcontractors to take affirmative steps to promote, recruit, and retain minorities and women. We also have in place the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which does the same thing for individuals with disabilities, and then the Vietnam Era Veterans Readjustment Assistance Act, which does the same thing for veterans. President Trump's executive order specifically overturned Executive Order 11246, which required that for minorities and women. We still have the obligation to do affirmative action or EEO planning for veterans and for individuals with disabilities. So this change is really to ensure that we are, still doing EEO planning for those groups that we're still required to under federal law, while still allowing allowances for any changes in the future to what we are required to track utilization of.
Representative Clemens, respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for that. And we have separate laws on the books in the state of Tennessee, actual statutes that give hiring preferences to veterans and the widows of veterans in the state of Tennessee. In fact, I helped pass one of those bills. And, I don't know why we're eliminating even those words from the permanent rule when we don't have to. And I just point out furthermore that executive order doesn't expressly prohibit DEI programs. It prohibits DEI programs that violate anti-discrimination laws. So here again, I fail to understand or grasp the necessity for us to take the proactive action of passing or adopting a permanent rule that is not required by the executive order. It's not even in the spirit of the executive order. And furthermore, it sends us in the wrong signal to our veterans, our brave men and women who've fought for this country and represented this country. I'm sitting with a few of them up here, or individuals with disabilities even, that we would take those out of the permanent rule and just use a blanket term like certain groups, which is vague and could argue apply to anybody, leaving us more exposed to violating the spirit of anti-discrimination laws. So I don't know why this is even on our agenda, because we're not violating the executive order, nor are we required to comply with that executive order in any way through this process by adopting this new language. So what are we doing here? I really fail to hear an explanation, legal or otherwise, or rational even. If you can enlighten me beyond what you've already said, why this is necessary, because it's not legally. I mean, politically maybe, but that's not y'all's function. That's not the department's function to carry out political activities. That you have a legal duty. So explain that to me.
Response.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Representative. I'll just reiterate, this change doesn't codify or put into the permanent rules the executive order. It creates more flexibility. It doesn't change what we do for reporting for individuals with disabilities or for individuals who are veterans. All that will remain the same. It just gives us the flexibility to accommodate this change at the federal level and any others that may come along in the future.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I just have one more thing.
Yeah, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Changing specific language with vague language that has a broad meaning exposes more legally than specific language. Vagueness is a recipe for disaster when it comes to rules and statutes. And I would, if this administration sees fit to delete these specific categories of persons and Tennesseans, I wish it at least have the courage to eliminate the ones it's really targeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Hardaway and then Representative Parkinson. Representative Hardaway, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm really confused now. So we are doing vague language to keep from having specific language that will conflict with the executive order, which requires vague language?
Response? You recognize?
Well, no, I'm confused. No, sir. We feel like the executive order is clear in what it's asking of us and other organizations that take federal funding. We went for a broader language to accommodate any changes that this General Assembly may make in the future so that we aren't having to revisit this every time there's a change, as well as to put us in a posture to be in compliance with where things are right now.
So in terms of the mission of assuring that our disabled veterans, disabled and our veterans are taken care of, we're going to leave specific language that will allow us to address the barriers that their condition really is causing them to come up short, shall we say, on the playing field. Is that a good way to put what you're doing? What are you doing to, why are we keeping disabled and the veterans in, and what is it doing for the disabled and the veterans?
You're recognized for response.
Melanie Kohler, Deputy General Counsel. There are 2 other laws in place that require EEO planning for veterans and for individuals with disabilities, and the state of Tennessee is still required to meet those federal benchmarks and still track the utilization of people with disabilities and for veterans. So that is not changing with our rule amendments. We're keeping it broad in order to eliminate the requirements that we are no longer required to do under the previous executive order of tracking women and minorities. So again, this changes to make it broad to accommodate any future changes that may come about with what is required for EEO planning. But yes, we are still required to conduct that for veterans and individuals with disabilities.
All right, maybe I'm about to get it clear. So is yours about tracking or actual operations?
Both.
This rule.
You're recognized. Go ahead.
The requirements are for tracking the utilization, and then if you are underutilized in a particular area, meaning you are outside of the benchmark that has been set for hiring those individuals, you are required to take affirmative steps to recruit, promote, and hire those individuals.
All right, so will we be able to, or will we actually track women, and will we accommodate whatever deficiencies are found by putting, by taking affirmative steps to cure those deficiencies?
You recognize?
The federal executive order that required that was revoked by President Trump's executive order, so we will no longer be tracking that.
So we won't have the data to know whether we have a problem or not? Is that what you're telling me?
You're recognized.
We still can have the data, but we are no longer required to do EEO planning for those categories.
Okay, I'm about to get confused again. When you say we'll have the data, will you be compiling the data and doing an analysis of that data?
Response?
No.
Okay, so when you compile the data, will you keep it in-house or will it be available for public review?
You're recognized.
All of our personnel data is maintained in Edison, and that includes demographic information about our applicants and employees. So we have the ability to gather data. It's just not being utilized for EEO planning due to this executive order.
Okay, now that's a partial answer. Will you compile that data into a report that the public can access and review?
Response?
Any information that is public record, any citizen can request a public record of any data that we have, and then we would receive that and process it just like we would any other public record request.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I think the other gentleman had something to offer.
Yep. You're recognized.
No, sir. She did a great job. I was just confirming with her on that, so I'm good.
All right, so we'll have to do questions, specific questions, if we want that data compiled in a specific way. Otherwise, it would just be sitting there. Am I clear on that?
You're recognized. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Correct. Yes, we use data if needed, if we get a public record request or if we're required to report it, either a federal requirement or a state requirement. But if we're not required to, we don't regularly just pull data just to look at tracking unless we are required to or there's a need to do that.
All right. And if you look at, and I'm going to be requesting those records, if you look at the records as I request them and as the reports are compiled, and you recognize that there are deficiencies with women or with other socioeconomic groups, will you be able to address those with affirmative steps or not?
Response?
Not through EEO planning, which is what this specific rule change is for that statistical document that is required by federal law or by federal executive order. So we will no longer be tracking it for the purposes of this rule change.
Okay, I have another question, but I really don't want that on record, so I'm not going to ask it. Thank you,
Okay.
Chairman.
Well, yes, thank you. We're going to move to Representative Parkinson and then Senator Crow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You had mentioned that the executive order that you're making the rules for now replaced the previous executive order. What was in the previous executive order?
So the previous executive order was Executive Order 11246 from 1965, and that required affirmative action planning for minorities and then was amended later to include women.
Okay, I was going to ask you if we made rules for that executive order, but I guess you weren't here then. So thank you. That's all I want to know. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
thank you. Senator Crow, you're recognized.
Yeah, I think what the president's order says essentially, and tell me if I'm wrong, as it relates to you guys, is that we're still going to try to, as she said, hire from all those different groups that we want to hire, the different categories of, veterans and women, minorities, all that. We're going to try to hire those groups, but we're going to try to hire based on their qualifications and merit, not based on what group they're in or who or what they are. Is that correct?
Yes, Chairman.
That's the basis of his executive order.
That's right. And to Representative Fritz's point earlier, we are already bound by Tennessee state law to hire the best candidate. There are certain preferences that are in place, and we certainly want to appeal to all categories in hiring. But yes, sir, we're going to hire the best candidate for the job.
So we can still say that we think we would love to hire more minorities, more veterans, more women, more whatever category it might be. But this executive order says we're going to hire those in those categories that are the most qualified based on merit, not based on just trying to find those categories, numbers of those categories. That's what.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Senator Crow. Representative Hardaway, one more time.
Thank you, Chairman. Now, just want to make sure we don't leave anything dangling out there. You're hiring on merit now. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're not just trying to fill numbers. You're hiring the best qualified candidate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And to get the best qualified candidate, according to that 65 executive order, you had to make sure that that candidate was able to present to you that that candidate was available for hiring, that that candidate knew of the position, that that candidate had a chance to be considered. Is that pretty much what the executive order of 65 was doing? Putting the candidates before you? It was not setting a quota, was it?
You're recognized.
Melanie Collier, Deputy General Counsel. Yes, so that it's not a quota. It's never been a quota. It's about taking affirmative steps to ensure that you have equal access to the positions through promoting, recruiting, and retaining those individuals.
Response?
And what you have as far as your mission as a government agency, as individual government employees, is to make sure that the best qualified candidate gets the position where he or she can deliver for the great state of Tennessee, those services or products that we produce. And that's what you've been about. And I'm asking if that's what you will continue to be about.
You may respond.
Yes, sir, without a doubt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions from the members? Seeing none? What? No, let me ask first, do we have any public comment? Seeing none? Now, motion and a second. What we'll do first, we'll take a roll call vote in the Senate. Madam Clerk, take the roll.
Senator Bowling, votes aye. Senator Crowe, votes aye. Senator Hatcher,
Aye.
votes aye. Senator Kyle, votes aye. Senator Oliver.
No.
Oops. Okay. Thank you. Senator Kyle, votes no. Senator Oliver, votes no. Senator Rose, votes aye. Senator Seal, votes aye. Senator Sutherland, Chairman Jackson.
Aye.
Chairman, you have 5 ayes and 3 noes.
All right. Thank you. And we'll take a voice vote in the House. All in favor say, I'm sorry. Okay. Would you recount the vote?
No.
No, it's an aye. Okay, 6 ayes, 2 noes. Okay. All right, now what we'll do is take a voice vote in the House. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
It passes with
Wait.
If they want to be recorded, they can give it to the clerk, and it passes with positive recommendation.
Okay. If you want to be recorded, get with the clerk, but passes with a positive recommendation in the House. This passes with a positive recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
We need order. We need order right here.
All
We
right.
need order.
Hey, hold on. We're not through. May I have order?
Okay. We're meeting next month.
Okay.
We will.
We'll be meeting again next month. The date will be in House here in room 3, date to be announced. Thank you. We stand adjourned. We'll meeting next month, the date, House here in room 3, the date will be announced.
Nope.